friends, this is a national security issue, and it strikes right at the heart of the economic difficulties we have today. We must achieve independence on foreign oil, and we can do that as a nation. We have faced great challenges in the past. We have faced great challenges, and Americans have risen to them. Of course, it's alternate energy. It's wind, it's solar, it's tides, and it's all the things that's clean that we agree with. But it also has to be nuclear power. Nuclear power has to be part of any equation that succeeds. My friends, and I want to just take 30 seconds on that. The United States Navy has sailed ships around the world for more than 60 years with nuclear power plants on them, and we've never had an accident. The French, we always want to imitate the French. 80% of their electricity is generated by nuclear power. And by the way, in case you missed it, we now have a pro-American president of France, which shows that if you live long enough, anything can happen in this world. And he's a great guy, by the way. So I don't think that it is beyond America's reach. And part of that is with green technologies. That's some of the things that are being done right here in Youngstown. Right here. There's a 2010 plan. I'm going to go to an outfit called Fairline, that is developing green technologies. They are developing green technologies, and that can provide jobs and employment for Americans. There are many of those. Fireline. Was close. Fireline is developing a ceramic that will be used in some of our defense equipment. It's lighter, it's better, it's more of an energy saver. And I'm looking forward to visiting with Fireline, okay? And so there are ways that we can reduce our energy consumption. The new light bulbs, all of these technologies are out there. And that's the future of America's economy, my friends. It's green technologies. And those people that say that it'll be some huge expense for us to get off our dependence on foreign oil and to reduce greenhouse gas emissions, I don't think they have the faith and confidence in America that I do. Every time there's been technological advances in this country, there's been a reduction of cost to the consumers. And green technologies, I believe, are the way to eliminate that, and at the same time eliminate our dependence on foreign oil, and at the same time reduce greenhouse gas emissions, because I believe that climate change is real. And I just a comment about that, about climate change. My friends, there are a lot of young people in this audience, and I'm grateful that you are here, because you're the future of America, and you're the reason why I'm running for president. But we really have to do this, my friends. And that is, if I could just put the question to you this way, and then I'll get off it, and I'll be glad to hear your response or move on to another questioner. My friends, suppose that we are wrong, those of us that believe that climate change is real and greenhouse gas emissions are affecting our planet, and all we do then is reduce greenhouse gas emissions and give these young people a cleaner planet and their children and their grandchildren. But suppose we are right and do nothing. Suppose that climate change is real, that greenhouse gas emissions are affecting this globe in a broad variety of ways. Then what kind of a planet will we hand off to these young Americans and their children and grandchildren? I think the answer to that is obvious. Did you have a response?
I guess the only thing I would ask is what specific plans do you have in mind, courses of action, to help us accelerate those alternative energy sources?
Well, one is I'm a proud conservative, and I believe that best government is least government. But I also believe that there is a role for pure research and development that the government can conduct. We have research labs around this country that have some of the best and brightest minds in the world. For example, suppose, my friends, I told you tomorrow that I could give you an automobile with a battery that'll take you 100 miles before you have to plug it in, and then you plug it in for a very short period of time. I think there'd be an overwhelming response on the part of Americans to purchase that kind of an automobile. Right now, we need to work and invest government money to try to develop that battery. That's just a small example. I think that there are many other ways of developing ways of alternate energy, whether it be solar panels, and by the way, there's companies now that are that thick, rather than solar panels, as you remember, are about that thick, that are in danger of breaking the roof of a home. There's so many things. These new light bulbs that have already been developed, they're more expensive, but they last longer. There's all kinds of new technologies across the board. And finally, I don't think Americans are averse to conserving a little. I don't think they're averse to that. Turn off the lights the next time you leave home. Don't leave the television set on. Don't make that extra trip to the convenience store. Do a little conserving. And I think Americans would do that without a great deal of discomfort. That's another thing that I think we need to do, is practice conservation. And if we ask Americans to do it wisely and intelligently, I'm sure they will respond in a positive fashion. I promise to make my next answers much shorter, because obviously these are very address some of the great challenges that we face. Yes, sir. Right there with the red shirt on, if you could come back.
Hi. My question's about China and what you plan on doing about the trade deficits. And also yesterday I heard they're manufacturing prescription drugs over there, and there were quite a few people got sick from that. And I'm just kind of wondering how the FDA is allowing that to happen.
I just read that allegation myself, but it's not the first allegation, as you know. The toys that came into this country from China too. I have to tell you, if I were President of the United States, the next toy that came into this country from China that endangered the lives of our children, it would be the last toy that came in from that country. So I worry about China, and I will try to make my answer brief. I worry about China in a broad variety of ways. This latest situation with Tibet. My friends, you can't repress people. You can't oppress people and expect to be a partner in the world. And what the Chinese have done as regards to Tibet, they are paying a price for now. They're paying a price for in the court of world public opinion. Now, having said that, and that's why if I were President of the United States today, I would say I'm going to reserve judgment as to whether I go to the opening ceremonies or not. I think it would be directly related to the Chinese treatment of this Tibetan issue. They've got to give those people some autonomy. They need to talk with the Dalai Lama, who is one of the great heroes in the world, and they've got a lot of work to do on imagery. But more importantly, the Chinese, I think, have got to start making progress in democracy, observant of human rights. They are the world superpower. They are becoming, and they are world superpower, and we have to recognize that. And the contemplation of conflict with China is not imaginable. It's not imaginable. But there's a lot of things that we can do to try to bring about improvement in Chinese behavior. And I think many of those are a very firm position on our respect for human rights and progress. But I also think that we have to understand that China will be a superpower. And there are some things that they have done which are laudable, and there's other things, such as this Tibetan situation, which are not. So I would try to deal even-handedly with China. I would try to bring about as good of... They know that it's in their interest to improve their image in the world. And I would, at the same time, reserve judgment on in a number of areas. But for us to deny that China will not be a superpower in the world is defiance of reality. So it's a very tough challenge. And this transfer of wealth that's going on from traditionally Europe and the United States over to Asia has very interesting long-term consequences for the world and for us. Sir, anyone? Yes, sir. All the way in the back there with the hat on and his hand raised, if you would do that. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Would you bring him the microphone, please? There you go. They're not going to let you talk, I'm afraid.